Meeting to order. We're being broadcast on Xfinity Channel 9, Players Channel 31, Zoom, and live on RCTV's YouTube channel. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Karen on right now? Okay. We currently have 4 select board members in the room. And
Nobody on Zoom, right?
No, I just confirmed.
Okay.
No. Let's go over the agenda. We'll have public comment for any items not included on the agenda. At 7:10, we'll go into executive session for purpose 2 to conduct strategy session in preparation for contract negotiations with non-union personnel, acting town manager position Jane Wellman. 7:25, we'll come out of executive session and discuss and potential vote to execute a contract with Jane Wellman to serve as the town's acting town manager. 7:30, we will discuss and potential vote on a town manager appointment process, inclusive of hiring an outside consultant firm to assist with the search and or creating an ad hoc town manager screening committee. Do we have a motion to go into executive? Oh, you're right. Does anyone here have any public comment? Anyone online?
No one online.
Perfect. Do we have a motion for executive session?
Move to enter into executive session under purpose 2 to conduct a strategy session in preparation for contract negotiations with Jane Wellman to serve as the town's acting, and to return to open session after the conclusion of the executive session to continue on with the meeting.
Great. We'll do a roll call vote.
Second.
Oh, thank you. Seconded by Chris Haley. We'll do a roll call vote. Karen Rogus-Gillis.
Yes. And
Yep. Chris Haley.
Yes.
Carla Bocci.
Yes.
Karen Herrick.
Yes.
Nancy Murphy, yes. We are back in regular session. It is 7:38. Do we bring the contract up on the screen? I believe.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have stopped being the host, Maddie. I don't know. Can you allow me to share?
Yes, 1 second.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
And then Karen, you have a
Motion. Move to execute a contract after it's up.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we're
the
going to
public
review
can
it
see
first.
and then,
Okay.
yeah,
So we have to sit here quietly.
patient.
All right, everyone. All
Patient.
right, is that visible now?
Yep.
Okay, great.
That's the Microsoft update. X is still there.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
So this is the agreement that we have come up with. I will open it to the board if anyone wants to make a comment now. And then also I will take public comment if there's any public comment. Anyone? Okay, great. So if we have a motion now, Karen.
Move to execute a contract with Jane Wellman to serve as the town's acting town manager as presented on the screen.
Second.
Seconded by Chris Haley. Does the board have any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Karen Rose Gillis. Yes. Chris Haley.
Yes.
Carlo Bacci.
Yes.
Karen Herrick.
Yes.
Melissa Murphy, yes. 5-0.
Great. So I will reach out to Jane, and once she countersigns the agreement, I will let the board know, and it will become effective on March 4th.
Should we see if someone could print? Oh, do you have one here?
So Ivrea, I have it here as long as there was no edits. I have the.
Yeah, I think we'll need a blank copy or a clean copy.
Because there was one change.
Okay.
Made. Yeah, we might have to just. Can you send it to Maddie so she may be able to print it for us tonight? So that we can
Absolutely.
sign
I will do that right now.
And then one question, Ivrea. I do have stamps for board members, and so since Karen Herrick is remote, do you want me to use a stamp, or would you like her to just come in at a different time and sign it?
It's up to Karen. If she wants to authorize you to use her stamp, she can do that.
You can use the stamp. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Karen.
And we are going to move to discuss and potential vote on a town manager appointment process inclusive of hiring an outside consultant firm to assist with the search and or creating an ad hoc town manager screening committee. Do we have any? Is Ivrea still on?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, perfect. Ivrea, do you want to give the board maybe some thoughts, or should we have the board make some comments first?
It's up to you. I'm happy to go through what a standard appointment process would look like with the various options, or if you want to discuss it amongst yourself, however you'd like to approach it.
Why don't you give us some various options that we could go through and then we can discuss?
Yeah. So there's sort of three ways in which communities engage in this process. One is they'll just do an internal search and decide whether or not to appoint an internal candidate. And the second option is that they'll do an external search themselves. They may have done a search recently. They kind of feel like they have the support they need internally, and will create a subcommittee, accept applications. The subcommittee will review it and present it to the select board for consideration. The third option is they'll hire a consultant to facilitate the process. With both the hiring of Fidel and the appointment of Matt, this town did hire a consultant to engage them to help them through the process. So that is another option that the board has. In general, no matter which of those three options you're going to utilize, it's helpful to create a subcommittee for various reasons. The first is that the subcommittee can enter executive session to review the applicants, whereas the board itself would not be able to do that. The open meeting law only allows for a subcommittee comprised of less than a quorum of the body to review applicants for hiring in executive session. You're going to get a better candidate pool if individuals can apply and know that the fact that they're applying is kept at least confidential until the stage that they're being presented for final consideration by the select board. So we would advise that committee be formed no matter which of the three options you engage in. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Does any board
I was just going to add, I think Sean is present, and Sean may have data on how much it cost to, or maybe Katie has the information on how much it cost last time around to hire the consultant.
Yes, I do. And through you,
you want
Ms.
to come
Chair.
up?
Yep, sure thing.
If you don't mind, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So from a procurement standpoint, like Ivrea said, the last few times we have done this, we have engaged with an executive search firm. Within procurement law, we anticipate this to be under $50,000, which necessitates the use of written quotes. Luckily, we have something that is fairly recent that we could draw upon. Last time, we solicited quotes from 4 different executive search firms. We hired Community Paradigm Associates to the tune of $10,900, and that was to cover the entire search from start to finish. So I believe, and Sean can correct me if I'm wrong, but that helped the application process, the interview process. I believe they created the collateral in which the job was advertised out via various ways to the community. They assisted in the interview process and the evaluation process, and they were with us right through the signing of the contract.
Reference checks as well.
Okay.
Yep. And so going through, I also did a little bit of research around some of our similar communities. We've seen town manager or town administrator searches, and recently in Wilmington, Burlington, Ipswich, and what am I missing? Winchester. Yeah. And so just building on what Ivrea had mentioned, all of these communities did something like she had mentioned. From those 3 options, we saw everything from internal candidates being selected to a select board running their own subcommittee-based search with various members of the community involved. And then we've seen several hiring executive search firms, and we have a pretty good handle on who those folks are and who we might like to send a request to quotes for, to hopefully see if they would be willing to engage. And from a pricing standpoint, I had said the $10,900 previously. That was in 2023. I think we could probably expect to see maybe in the $13,000 to $15,000 range.
Okay. Do any board members have any thoughts, insight, comments?
Karen's got her hand.
Karen?
Sure, thank you. So this is our 3rd time in the last 5 years that we've done this. And I thought the process has worked really well. We got broad input from all the stakeholders. And I can't believe that the work that our firms have put in for us on such short money. And also we're able to leverage their connections and their experience, and knowing how we're short-staffed at the moment, and knowing how busy staff is, I have been incredibly grateful for having these specialized consultants helping us. Seems like everything we're asked to approve, master plans, everything costs $50,000. So that's why I say I can't believe we can get this done with the number of hours they put in for. I would agree. I would expect maybe closer to 15 this time, but I think it's worked well in the past, and Chris and Carlo have been part of those 2 processes. So, I look forward to hearing their thoughts as well.
Thank you. Carlo?
I guess Ivrea, so we have internal, external, which would be something like Community Paradigm, right? That's what external is. Can you go over the subcommittee part again, please, and what, I guess,
Absolutely.
is it the same process that acts as the search committee, or the subcommittee picks a search committee? I guess I want to understand that better.
No. So what has happened in the past with the search in Reading is that the select board has appointed a search committee. It's a subcommittee of the select board. So 2 members of the select board plus additional individuals. In the past, the town manager has served on it. The library director has served on it. The chief of police served on it, and I believe you had 2 residents as well serving on that committee. And that committee worked with Bernie, your consultant, to decide kind of what the application would look like, put it forth, and when the candidates submitted their applications, that committee in executive session was able to review those candidates and then selected a pool of, of 3, usually is what we recommend, selects kind of a group to be put forth to the select board for final interviews and consideration. And the interviews that would occur in front of the select board would be in public. And so the executive session component is only at that first level of review.
And that's the external process.
Yeah, and so that can be done with or without a consultant. In the past, like I said, you've used Bernie to kind of help facilitate that. Our office can help as well. Bernie has, or a consultant would have connections with other town managers and kind of would have access to that candidate pool. So that sometimes is a benefit that they can provide. But that's the process that you would utilize, kind of looking for external candidates. An internal candidate process is done very differently, and it really depends on, how you want to structure it. You can still have that subcommittee to review the internal candidates, or you can just bring the candidates that you're interested in front of the whole select board and conduct the interview there.
Does Sean's here in the room, I don't know if you can see him. So Sean's here in the room. And does his role is more involved if it's an internal candidate or a subcommittee that, we kind of do ourselves without a consultant, or his role is the same in all 3 choices?
So I think his role is directed in part, by what he's willing to accept and what the board is asking of him. In general, in my past experience, Sean only comes in at the very end to kind of help with the final contract component, but he doesn't, and reviewing kind of the query in the background, but he doesn't, facilitate.
Okay, I just checking if there's anything different, doing it a different way. That's all. Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Carl. Chris.
Thanks, Melissa, and thanks, Ivrea. I know Katie had brought up a couple. I did a little bit of research as well beforehand, just to see what other communities were doing. So she mentioned Ipswich, Winchester. I don't want to start labeling communities as just seeing the candidate pool that some of these ended up with. But my wife is from Vermont, and Winchester ended up with a Vermont candidate. It just seems wild to me that in the current state of affairs that we're in, we could be potentially with a finalist from another state, where 2 building projects override potential and everything else going down the pike like that just doesn't really sit well with me at all. So I'm kind of torn on this whole search process scenario, only from that aspect, that just seeing what our neighboring town ends up with, no disrespect. Like I said, one of them's Vermont, they withdrew, somebody else withdrew, they were down to 1, they had to reset the whole thing. Ipswich has potential candidates, one of them used to work here, I think. Mm-hmm. And if I could kind of select their person, it seems like he would be elevating by doing it. The other 2 candidates are more, I'm not sure why they would be leaving the positions that they're in. Somebody else, it's their job to come up with that. So I don't know. I've been through this before, like Karen mentioned. I don't like going through this kind of thing, and it's not our fault that we're in this position in the first place, but that's kind of where I'm at, and just wanted to see what everyone else's thoughts were.
Thanks, Melissa. I don't know any of this. I've never done it before. So you're talking about someone named Bernie. So I guess
you know Bernie quite well,
and I've never had the pleasure of meeting him.
He's out of Vermont, Bernie.
No, he's not.
So does he charge us? Like, what is the cost? Stop. So what is the cost for using Bernie as opposed to use the cost
of a consultant?
A consultant.
Bernie is a consultant.
He is the consultant.
But when you say there's an external search that we could use Bernie, and then you say hire a consultant, are those two different?
One of the same, sorry. We've
It's
used
the
Bernie
same?
past 2 times. Sorry.
Yes. So in the past, the board has engaged a consultant firm called Community Paradigm, and the individual who has been assigned to Reading his name is Bernie.
All making sense to me now.
Yeah. So he's the consultant who has worked with the
Okay,
town.
obviously. Okay.
And so through that process, he's worked with the subcommittee and the full board in putting out the application, collecting the applications that are submitted, reviewing, conducting the background checks, working with the subcommittee to like do the initial screening, presenting the panel to the full board. And he'll also come into executive session once the full board has selected a candidate for appointment to the position to help with the contract negotiations. So he sort of does the full process, or the consultant would do that full process if you elect to hire someone.
So is it possible to do an internal search and getting his guidance as well? Or is that repetitive?
Absolutely. I don't know what the cost difference would be.
Okay.
He would likely recommend an external search if I guess, it's where I think.
I'm just asking questions, as stupid as they may sound.
Yeah.
And as far as an external search, knowing that this is probably the worst time to look because everybody has town meeting coming up, putting that into play, I think confidentiality is even more important because everybody's out in the public with their towns at this point. And so I think we need to make sure that that's highlighted. And do you have any idea, I guess, how long does the process take? So if it's going to take months and months, so it's going to take us probably well into the summer.
Sean's got some answers.
Oh,
Yes, thank you.
All right.
help me out here.
I was actually going back and looking at some meetings from, I don't know if this is on, from when this was done, the last process. And I believe, and Katie, you can attest to this, I think my timeline picks up where yours ended with them, but around October 25th, 2023, that's when the town started to work with Community Paradigm, Bernie, as the consultant. Over the course of the next few months, the position was posted by them in some specific places. They gave approximately, it sounds like about a 1 month application process. Screening committee started meeting started meeting to review candidates about a week before Christmas. Started interviews in early January, right after New Year's. And the select board ended up doing interviews. I believe it was on around January 27th. And that was approximately what that process looked like.
How many months is that?
About 3 months, but with the holidays thrown in.
Yeah. October.
And the interview process takes about how long, give or take?
At that time, the only interview process that was public was done in 1 day.
Okay.
I think it was Saturday.
Okay.
Madam Vice Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the newer members of the board know that the select board also chooses the interview committee, so that sort of builds in a bit of the time. People apply, we interview them, and we nominate them.
Thank you.
And that was what took place, I think, early January, was like more confidential interviews.
Okay.
They listed this all, they being Community Paradigm listed it at
Okay.
at the January 16th select board meeting, I believe, of 2024. So that was approximately what it was.
You go if you want to go.
No,
Can I just ask?
yeah.
Does anyone know how many candidates usually apply if we use an outside?
I have that. Oh,
I don't know too.
we can.
Are you gonna
Well, I have what we had last time. Do you want to go
no,
first?
I don't have that.
Okay. So, according to what I wrote down, if I can read my writing, there were 19 applications. It looks like 11 of them were viable, and a total of 6 people were interviewed, according to what I saw at that meeting. And then there were 4 candidates in public on that January 27th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Vice Chair?
I'm just gonna let Karen or Gillis finish with her questions and then
Oh, sure, sorry.
be well done.
Thanks.
Karen, you can go now.
Okay. Sean, are you sure? So one of the things that, and by the way, just to be clear, so as Katie said, we have to put this out for bid. So we're not for sure going to get our friends at Community Paradigm again, but there are other firms out there that do this regularly. But they came in the lowest cost bidder, so we had them again. What I was going to say, oh, that number 19 seems a little low, but one of the things that Community Paradigm did for us is I seem to remember 25 to 28, but then they go through a process where they weed out the candidates that, let's characterize them as not having the right credentials, but threw in their application anyway. But that did make the work easier for the selection committee. But I think that 19 sounds a little low, Sean. I don't know if you have any other notes.
The notes that I had from that meeting, unless I missed it, were 19 applied and 11 were viable. So I'm not sure if it was the time before that, because I do remember I thought a higher number before, but I could be wrong. That was further back. I didn't go back that far.
Yeah, and the time of year might make a difference too. Thank you.
And then I have some of the numbers that like peer communities have seen.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So from what I've seen publicly available, Wakefield had 23 applications. They ended with 4 finalists. Winchester had roughly 20 applicants for the job with 6 people interviewing and 3 advancing as finalists. And then in Ipswich, according to their internal subcommittee, they received 40 applications and they had 11 semifinalists. They announced 3 finalists today, actually. And then Burlington followed more of like an internal succession planning, so nothing was made public, and I don't believe they accepted applications for that one.
Okay. I'm going to give Carol and then I'll go. And then go ahead.
So yes, 3 of us have been through this a few times, and it's, you know, it's a process. And to Chris's point, just as a, you know, I don't want to say it's going to happen, but we could put this out there. Oh, sorry. We could put this out there and we start over again. That's always a possibility. So, you know, I don't know what Burlington did. 40 applicants for Ipswich is crazy, maybe because of the beach. I don't know why. But that is not so. We never got that many. So who knows? But we'll probably get applicants from all over the country, as we have before. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but I think you need to know Massachusetts a little bit. This is my opinion. And you know, how we govern here differently than other states. But so just, yes, it's just March has started. We're looking at summer, which, you know, is fine. But I just think I might want to try a different way this time. That's all. Put that out there. Thanks.
Have we ever done succession planning before in any large positions here?
I don't know what happened for Bob. I don't know how, was Bob succession or Bob was?
Bob was a search committee.
For department heads, I believe we have, correct?
Yeah.
Sean might be.
I wasn't here. But from my understanding, yeah, Bob came in as the assistant town manager for finance, I believe, in like the mid 2000s. And then Peter was the town manager. And then I haven't looked into this, but I have heard that there was a search process. Okay. And Bob ended up being the finalist, and that was around 2012 or 2013. I'd have to go pull up payroll to double check. But
yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then we have done succession for department heads.
In some departments, absolutely, you know, internal conversations about trying to bring up the next person. We actually, you know, we have a rich history of, in many of our departments, people, you know, look at our 2 police and fire chief, other positions, you know, rising through the ranks as they're gaining experience over time and getting that training.
Absolutely. Karen, I do see your hand raised, but I'm just going to take a minute and make a comment because I haven't yet. I've never done this process before. And my biggest concern is where the town is right now. And I would strongly support an internal candidate, Jane, being Jane. I went through her CV. I think she's very qualified. She's been in Reading for 10 years. She's had budget responsibilities. She's been director of multiple divisions. She's already been intimately involved in our major capital projects. She's done a really good job of, coordinating across departments for efficiency for those projects. She knows the town's budget structure. She, I think for staff, it would be good not to bring someone else new in that's new to Reading. That's my concern right now, is that we have 2 large building projects. We are on the brink of needing an override. And to bring a new person in, I'm really concerned by the time they catch up, we're going to be 10 steps behind. That's my concern. I think Jane is a very unique candidate. Not only has she been here in town for 10 years, but she was an elected official in her own town for over 15 years. So she brings a very unique perspective of how towns run, and I think that is important. And I think that she's done a really good job. I also think that she's proven herself capable of doing the job when, Matt was on vacation, or now we have her as our acting interim. I think that, she's really proved herself as a strong leader. And I think that that's what the town needs right now. We're going into town meeting, then we're going back into budget season, and we have these 2 projects, and we're going to talk about overrides. So that's kind of my opinion, but I just wanted to put it up there. Karen, I see your hands raised.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. So I was chair of the select board when we went through this process in 2021, 22. It was in the fall, and I did my homework. And when Bob LaLacheur became our town manager, there was a search process, and a consultant that helped the select board. And there were multiple candidates, and the select board chose Bob, and that's the process. So it's almost become a tradition in Reading that we do go through a formal process. We solicit the best candidates we can find from wherever they are. And, sometimes the internal candidate is the best candidate, but the public knows that we have done our due diligence. And so I would say that. The other thing I want the board to be aware of, and some of you already know this, but so the select board hires 3 people. We hire the town accountant, we hire our legal counsel, and we hire the town manager. We do not hire our assistant town manager. While I think it's really important to grow staff and promote from within, and I think Jane's done a great job. She's been a terrific town manager. I don't want to imply for a second that she hasn't done a good job and worked hard. But I did want to make clear to the board that Matt chose his own assistant town manager, and whoever we pick for a town, if we were to go through this process and either Jane decides not to apply or the board decides to go in another direction, then Jane could potentially go back to her role as being a great assistant town manager with the consistency that staff needs. And at the same time, we could potentially be bringing in new talent to the pool. When we brought in Fidel, the community was very, very, very happy about that move. And I think the staff was too, and I think we grew as a community. That's when our policies and our philosophy towards going after grants and then ended up being very successful came into focus, and some other things that we got done as well. So those are just some thoughts that I have on this process. Tradition of looking to external candidates and having everyone apply and having a board make a decision at that point, and just reminding the board of the people we do appoint. Everything else, it goes through a strong town manager, a form of government, and I'm mindful of feedback we get from residents about, the kind of level of services they want. And so just my thoughts. Thank you.
Anyone have any follow-up thoughts? Chris? Sorry for your hand up.
No,
Okay. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with Karen mentioning, how we've done things in the past. And without disparaging anybody else, we're here again. We're here again. So perhaps the old way wasn't working. And for me, if we do have an internal candidate, I don't see what the issue is, as long as Jane would be qualified. And like Melissa had mentioned, all of her items. More so for me, what I've at least seen with Jane, just not attending, but essentially covering every single meeting in writing for the last 1-2 years. There's one constant denominator, and it was always Jane being there. And her active participation in those meetings, I think anybody can just tune back to any various meetings that she's been a part of, even the most recent select board meetings, and just get a sense for whether or not she's capable of handling, this kind of position, while she wasn't even in that position in the first place. I always like when you can just ask a question, someone has an answer, or otherwise they're going to find out for something. And even during my agenda setting thing earlier with Jane, she had things on liability because of the snow shoveling bylaw, and she knew all these other incidents in Reading and everything else. Vermont ain't going to have that. California, somebody from Ipswich. I just don't see it. It's to quote FinCon the other night, it ain't a good time. And I agree. It ain't a good time to be doing this. And we're in this position because we're in this position. So I would be good with moving towards the interim, saving the money, promoting from within, and just letting Jane take the reins through town meeting and just continuing where we left off. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else? So Ivrea, would you, should we, guidance would be great. I don't know.
No, for sure.
Should we get a consensus?
I think the first thing is I haven't had any conversations with Jane to see if she is interested. So I think that is step one. If you are going to look internal, I think you should authorize someone to at least start having a conversation to see if the candidate is interested in the position. If she's not interested, or only interested if a search is done, like an external search in which she can apply and be considered, that's information for this board to have. I think it's premature to, assume that because, Jane accepted the acting town manager position, that she would accept the town manager position. I think additional conversations are needed.
Okay, I think that's
so I think step one is having those conversations. The charter requires an appointment within 180 days. So I think we should tonight, authorize someone to have that conversation if that's the direction the board wants to go, so that at your next meeting on the 9th, you can, or sorry, the 10th, the 9th, the 9th, you can continue the conversation either in executive session if they're moving into contract negotiations, or a discussion about what an external search would look like.
Carla.
So I guess basically we'd be tabling this agenda item, so to speak, even though we discussed it, but we're not voting, so it's potential.
So I don't think it's a table. I think you have been discussing, like, what is the process for someone? And it sounds like, I guess I'm interested in hearing what Karen Rose Gillis has to say, but it sounds like there is some appetite at least to consider an internal candidate direct appointment. And if that's the road the board wants to go, I think the next steps would be to authorize someone to have those conversations with the candidate.
So thank you. I shouldn't have said table it. So is the next step basically a person asking one question for a yes or no answer? And it doesn't have to be you.
Have a conversation. Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Do you want this or not? I mean, if it's no, there's no reason to talk. If it's yes, then you can't talk about a contract yet because no contract is in place.
Right. I think the question is, if it's yes, some individuals would want the search because they may want to feel like they've earned it after a complete search. So Jane may, or the candidate may very well say, I'm interested in the position, but only after a search. Or she may say, no, I'm interested now. And in that case, I think we can start talking about what a contract would look like. But we'd have to bring it back to this board to appoint her subject to successful
Gotcha.
contract.
All right, that's fair. I didn't think of that. Thank you.
Okay. So what is the appetite of the board? Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's fine.
Thanks, Melissa. I was just going to say, Ivrea, we're not precluded. Can we have 2 members, or you think it's cleaner with 1?
1.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Wait, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I was going to say maybe if 2 members will speak to Jane or whatever, but you said 1.
I apologize. I thought we were, if the board agreed, I thought we were gonna have Ivrea speak to her. Is that not what you said? I thought that's what you said. That's why when you said one,
It can be, I would suggest that it be a board member, and that if that board member needs help in their discretion, they can reach out to me if they have questions about the
I
conversation.
just misunderstood what you said. So I guess my question is what is is the board on board? Is the board okay with authorizing the chair to speak to Jane to see if she is interested in the job?
Well, does it have to be the chair? No offense, Chris.
No, it doesn't have
Do you know
to.
what I mean?
No, I don't think it has to be the chair. I think we can authorize anyone. I'm just thinking the chair is probably the most appropriate person to have by. That was my opinion.
I'd like to do an internal search.
Okay.
So it's not a search, it's just a question.
Yeah.
Yes,
You'll do it, I get, sorry.
internally.
Yes,
I-
yes.
So I guess my understanding, and Ivrea, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that we would authorize someone, my opinion is the chair, to speak with Jane to see if she is interested in taking the next steps. And then we'll have to come back to the board and discuss those next steps. Is that correct?
Correct. And the next steps, if she is interested without a search, the next step would be to decide whether to appoint her, subject to successful contract negotiations. And we would go into an executive session and start discussing what that contract would look like.
Chris.
And then, Ivrea, so what is the latitude the individual would have speaking with Jane? Just are you interested, like just general, no promise questions, full board vote? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they wouldn't be
No
able to make any
guarantees.
promises as to dollar figures or anything like that, but she could have a conversation with whoever has been authorized. You know, I only would want this term, or I'm open to a shorter contract term. She could express all of that to the individual.
Do we need a vote?
Before we vote, there is public comment.
I know, I'm just trying to
Right.
get the process going, understand the process. Ivrea, I see, Karen, 1 second. Ivrea, will we need a vote to appoint someone to talk to Jane or internal candidate?
Yeah, I would suggest a vote.
Karen, I see that your hand's raised, sorry.
Thank you. So I think an internal search is too limited. I just want to make sure I don't have a problem with the select board member speaking to our acting town manager about her interest. I want to make sure we preserve all options so that if this internal candidate, our acting town manager, is not sure, and then we proceed with our traditional style of search, that we make sure that we communicate that we would be, or I would be interested in communicating that I'm not opposed to having internal candidates apply. I don't want to cut off any paths.
Okay, I don't think we are by just asking this question and.
I didn't say we are. I just want to be very, very clear.
Do we have public comment here in the room? Anyone?
Sorry, I just have one more comment, Melissa.
Oh, yes, sure.
I'm sorry. My last comment is, if you do go down a search route, an external search, you do want it to be very clear that you're open to anyone, because we don't want external candidates to think that this is already kind of going to some internal candidate. So we need to make it clear, if we are going to commit to the external process, we are looking at everyone, and we want to make sure everyone feels like they have a real shot of getting it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Angela has her hand up.
Okay. Angela, You have 2 minutes, name and address. Maddie, are you timing? Thank you.
All set?
Yeah.
Yep, sure, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela Binda, Orchard Park Drive. My dealings with Jane Wellman have always been incredibly positive, and I think she is an incredible asset to the town. I do have some questions, though, about the process that the select board might be going through, and I would encourage a larger search. Select Board Chair Christopher Haley stated, "We're here again. We're in this position again." And I want to, I guess I would look for some searching for the board who appointed Matt Cronalis, because he said, we want continuing where we left off. So I want to know where exactly he thinks you left off. When Mr. Cronalis was hired, Mr. Haley stated that he would do a fabulous job onboarding him. So I want to know where he thinks that he went wrong in this process. You did not renew a contract for a person that you gushed over, and it wasn't just Mr. Haley, Mr. Bocci did too. And you said that you would personally onboard. How would this be any different? How would this be any different from going with an internal candidate? And again, I'm not saying that Ms. Wellman is not the right candidate, but I'm saying that you really should do a search that allows for other people to apply. And if Ms. Wellman rises to the top, then that is a good thing. But Mr. Haley, I'm not quite sure what he thinks that he would do differently in this situation. He said he would onboard the former town.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Maddie, do we have any other? Karen Janowski.
Thank you, Karen Janowski, 30 Azalea Circle. Yeah, I just wanted to echo some of the sentiments regarding Jane. I think she is an incredibly impressive internal candidate. I think one of the things that's different when we consider Jane as a possible, as the transition candidate, is we have a track record with Jane. We know she attends every meeting. We know that she puts in the time, the effort, the energy, and she is very conciliatory. As the chair of the Council on Aging, she has been attending some of our meetings recently, and her input has been so beneficial to us as a working group because she tries to handle things with humor and she really listens. That's one of the things. When you're working with Jane, you know that she is listening to you. She's really considering everything that you are saying. And I think what I would recommend is we know her track record. We know how she's performing. We know that she is well regarded by the community. She is an excellent asset to us. And I just want to have you seriously consider, do you want to take on an unknown entity? And somebody can present very well during an interview, but Jane Wellman presents very well in every situation. So we just know what we're getting. We know that she's committed to our community. She has a 10-year history here. And I urge the board to carefully consider an external search where everything is unknown. And as you've all said, we've got a lot of projects starting. We've got the recal. She's attended all those PBC meetings. She's attended, she attends every meeting and she's very knowledgeable. I cannot commend and praise her enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other hands online? Okay, thank you. All right, we will move to Ivrea. Do we just have to do a motion to appoint? Maybe you're better at
motion to authorize insert select board member's name to communicate the board's desire to work with Jane Wellman on a potential contract for the position of town manager. Okay. And see if she's interested.
So pardon me, can we rephrase that? Are we that's a little cart before the horse, right? We were just gonna have a conversation versus you said work on a contract.
We can do motion to authorize select board member to discuss with Jane Wellman her interest in potentially serving as town manager of the town of Reading.
Thank you.
And I think it should be the chair. That's my opinion. Do anyone else have any opinion on that? I'm happy.
No.
Yeah, I'm Jane's favorite.
Well, I think I am.
She might be.
I don't think so.
I don't disagree with either of you.
So if we want to do a motion naming Chris Haley the chair to whatever you said.
Motion to authorize Chris Haley to discuss with Jane Wellman her interest in applying or becoming the town manager.
Second.
Seconded by Carlo. We need to do a roll call. Any discussion again from the board? No discussion. We have to do a roll call vote. Karen Rose Gillis. Yes. Chris Haley.
Yes.
Carlo Bacci.
Yes.
Karen Herrick.
Yes.
Melissa Murphy. Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Chris Haley. Roll call again. Karen Rose Gillis. Yes. Chris Haley.
Yes.
Carlo Bacci.
Yes.
Karen Herrick.
Yes.
Melissa Murphy. Yes. Thank you very much.